You're an extrovert. You genuinely love spending time with other people. You truly enjoy sharing a good laugh. You feel completely alive when you are surrounded by your friends. Great. But the very moment you are finally by yourself, something surprising happens. It's a very specific contradiction that many outgoing people experience every single day. A heavy wave of total silence washes over you. Instead of feeling lonely, this sudden quiet feels like a massive physical relief. You do not try to fill the empty room with background noise. You just sit completely still. You take a very long, deep breath. You simply soak in the wide-open emptiness of your own private space. This dual nature can seem incredibly confusing to everyone else. Think about the people who only see your public personality. They clearly see your natural warmth. They easily see your high confidence. They see a social battery that looks like it will never, ever run out. These same people would be completely shocked to learn the truth. They would be amazed by how fiercely you protect your private time. Our culture gives us a very strict set of rules about personality types. These rules claim that if you love a big crowd, you must constantly want company. If you deeply crave quiet time, you simply must be a classic introvert. But this basic stereotype is entirely false. It completely misunderstands how human energy actually works in real life. Modern psychology reveals a much deeper and more interesting truth. You can be highly extroverted and still desperately need time alone. These two traits actually fit together perfectly well. We need to break down what extroversion really means to understand why this happens. In the study of personality, being an extrovert is not just about wanting to be in a big crowd. Extroversion is actually a very broad category of traits. It includes feeling positive emotions. It includes acting with confidence and speaking up for yourself. It also involves having high levels of physical energy and activity. You can score very high on traits like enthusiasm. You can score high on being happy and assertive. But having these traits does not mean you need to be around people 24 hours a day. The word extrovert is often just too simple of a label. It fails to describe a person who loves engaging with the world, but who also deeply protects their own private time. At the same time, people misunderstand the concept of solitude. We often think that being alone is the exact same thing as feeling lonely. We confuse it with being totally isolated from society. However, modern research on solitude defines it differently. Researchers say solitude is simply a state where your main relationship is with yourself. This usually involves being physically away from others, but it doesn't necessarily have to be. It can also mean focusing deeply on your own inner thoughts. This is a very important difference. It explains why you can feel entirely alone while standing in a crowded room. It also explains why you can feel deeply connected to yourself while sitting in an empty house. Many highly social people need to step away from their public roles. They need to spend time alone just to be with their own thoughts. The real secret is found in why you choose to pull away from others. Psychologists make a clear difference between two different things. One is just preferring to be alone. The other is choosing solitude for your own personal growth and health. This second type means you want to be alone because it feels meaningful to you. It feels enjoyable and restful. You're not just hiding in your room to avoid a socially awkward situation. Researchers ran studies where people kept daily diaries of their feelings. The results showed something really interesting. Being an introvert did not really explain why people wanted this healthy alone time. Instead, a trait called autonomy explained why people sought out solitude. Autonomy means you are good at making your own independent choices. You don't retreat into the quiet because you can't deal with loud social spaces. You retreat because you are fully in charge of your own life. And right in this moment, you are choosing to focus on yourself. This behavior acts as a tool to manage your current mental state. Studies have tracked how people feel at different times of the day. Acting like an extrovert is strongly linked to your goal in that exact moment. Sometimes your immediate goal is to focus and solve a hard problem. Sometimes your goal is to deal with a heavy emotional feeling. Other times you just want to take off the social mask you wear all day. When you have these goals, you will temporarily turn down your social energy. You're not losing your outgoing personality, you're just hitting the pause button. You are doing this to take care of a different internal need. We can also look at this by looking at your physical nervous system. Extroverts have lower levels of brain activity when they are just resting. Because of this, they seek out exciting and busy places to feel normal. But even a brain that loves excitement has a limit. It can be pushed too far. A recent study looked at how people feel during their everyday lives. It found that alone time becomes very appealing when people feel high levels of negative emotion. This was especially true for younger adults. When you feel overwhelmed, angry, or totally drained, the outside world simply becomes too loud. Solitude gives you a space with far less input. The background noise finally drops away. This quiet space allows your overworked nervous system to finally calm down and relax. Now here's the confusing part. Not for you, for others. When you are naturally warm and friendly, people get used to it. They start to expect you to be available to them all the time. They assume that talking and hanging out with you will always be easy. But research shows something very interesting about people who like being alone. These people are more likely to be left out by others. They are more likely to face social rejection. This happens because their friends misunderstand their need for quiet time. When they pull away, their friends think it is a personal insult. Their friends think the interaction was bad or annoying. When a highly social person suddenly sets a firm boundary, it is surprising. When they say, "I just need to stay home tonight," it leaves people feeling very confused. Because of this social friction, the solitary extrovert often becomes very picky about their friends. Extroversion is closely connected to how sensitive you are to rewards. Having a good, genuine conversation with a friend feels like a huge reward. But having a bad, demanding, or fake conversation is incredibly exhausting. Sometimes an extrovert is invited to a social event that feels fake or draining. When this happens, their brain does some quick math. They quickly realize that staying home alone is actually the better choice. Solitude simply offers a richer and more satisfying reward. This leads us to an important split in how this trait actually works in real life. Studies suggest there are two totally different paths for extroverts who like being alone. The first path is healthy, chosen solitude. The second path is avoidant, stressed solitude. In the healthy path, alone time is an active choice. People choose it to manage their emotions, focus on work, and feel like themselves. Researchers tracked people over a period of 21 days. They found that when people chose to be alone, they felt much less stress. They also felt much more satisfied with their freedom. In this healthy path, solitude is not the opposite of a good social life. Instead, it is the exact tool that makes a busy social life possible. But the second path is very different. In the avoidant path, a person pulls away because dealing with people has become exhausting. It might feel unrewarding or full of conflict. This kind of forced or stressful solitude is not healthy. It is strongly linked to feeling lonely. It is tied to symptoms of depression and being rejected by others. We must remember that extroversion usually protects people from feeling lonely. This means that when an extrovert is forced to be alone, it hurts them deeply. When solitude changes from a chosen luxury into forced isolation, it becomes true agony. We saw this happen on a huge scale during the pandemic. Remote work forced highly social employees to stay home alone. A study looked at workers who were stuck at home during lockdowns. Researchers grouped them by their personality traits and their love for solitude. Workers who fell into the solitary group actually suffered a lot more. They felt more loneliness at work. They felt greater stress and lower happiness with their jobs. They even produced fewer good ideas than their highly social coworkers. Another study looked at police employees working from home. It found that workers who were more extroverted deeply missed their coworkers. They missed the shared energy of an office. Solitude only helps you work well when it is an active choice. It only works when it fits the task at hand. Solitude hurts us when it takes away the social energy we need to keep moving forward. The details of our lives also change how we experience quiet time. Our own thoughts have massive power over how we feel. Our thoughts decide if an evening alone feels like a safe haven or a prison. Our culture pushes a stereotype that being alone is always a sad thing. This stereotype is scientifically false, but believing it can actually ruin your alone time. If you are an extrovert, you might believe you should always want to be around friends. If you believe this, you will ruin your quiet rest time with feelings of guilt. Thankfully, this problem often gets better as we get older. Multiple studies show that older adults enjoy their daily solitude much more than younger people do. Getting older is strongly linked to having better experiences while alone. Having more freedom is also linked to better alone time. Older adults usually have much more control over their daily schedules. They are much more picky about who gets their social energy. They have finally learned the exact shape of their own limits. So, wanting to be alone helps you the most when it is a clear choice. It helps when it is planned out. It should not be used as a way to hide from painful social problems. But for many people, the research shows a very hopeful picture. It shows a deeply balanced one. Researchers did studies where people talked about what being alone meant to them. The word balance came up naturally in these talks. Even the loudest, most outgoing people use this word. They do not see their quiet time as running away from the world. They see it as a necessary weight on a scale. It balances out their heavy involvement in the social world. So maybe you are the person who can easily charm a whole room of people, but maybe you also fiercely protect your empty, quiet weekends. That doesn't make you an introvert who was given the wrong label. You are simply a person where two different mental systems meet in a beautiful way. Some extroverts prefer being alone because they use that time on purpose. They use it to manage themselves, to be real, and to live with focus. It is not because they fail at being social. You truly love the world. And because you engage with the world so intensely, you have earned a reward. You have earned the right to close the door sometimes. You have earned the right to just let the silence wash over you.